This document links to the Functions and Equations topic in the IB Maths course. It looks at ability to explore all the properties of linear, quadratic and cubic functions. On page 2.1 we have a typical setup where we have a graph that you can grab the points and move the line around. Down here we have the algebraic form of the function in multiple ways. Here we have a fully expanded form, the form that you might expect to see the equation of this line in. You have a factorized form and you have the rearranged form so that it's equal to 0. And you'll always have this option of different ways of looking at it on your screen. On the panel on the right hand side we can type in coordinates of points. So if I happen to think that the point 1, 12 is on this graph, I can just type 112 and a dot turns up on the graph. I could do 2 and then 14. A second point turns up. So students can check to see if they can correctly predict input and output values of their function for whatever's on display. On page 3.1 it's exactly the same setup as on page 2.1, except instead of having the coordinates of 5, 0, it just has a 5. And so this is when students are comfortable that there is a 0 on the show there, but the functionality of this page is identical. When we get to page 4.1, we have two free-flowing points anywhere in space, and obviously there's a little bit more complexity going on, and students start to realize that a lot of the functions they meet in textbooks are not they've been sterilized a bit. They always have got nice integer coefficients, and if you were to just pick randomly 2 points in space, the vast majority of them end up with fractional coefficients. But obviously when we get round to writing them in homogeneous form, things always look that little bit nicer. On page 5.1 we move on to quadratics. We can control the x-axis intercepts and the y-axis intercept, and again we have all the forms. We have the factorized form, we have the expanded form going on there. Page 6.1, same setup, but this diagram's less cluttered now. We don't have all the zeros in the way. We also have the line of symmetry, which is the midpoint between the two roots. Page 7.1, this time instead of controlling the axis intercepts, we can control the turning point, and if we change the version of the form of the equation to be like so, you can see which numbers connect here with the ones down there. Page 8.1 brings in the discriminant and gets students to recognize that there is a geometrical significance behind the discriminant as to how many times it might be cut in the x-axis. And again, you've got complete choice on how to move things around on the diagram there. And finally on page 9.1 we have a cubic. We have the opportunity of changing any of the values of the intercepts, like so. And we have different forms of seeing the cubic at the bottom. That's it. That's all it does.